Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin. As always, I'm joined by my fellow professional sports handicapper, Chip Chirimbus, a guy I'm not only respect immensely as a sports handicapper, but he's a friend and a true friend. And Chipper, how are you?
I'm great. The sun is shining every day, and it's always shining if you're coming off a winners. A perfect 3-0 NIT night on Thursday night, and looking one of my last 7 NCAA releases, Ross. So I'm looking forward to the tournament this weekend. There's big games, a big money on the line, and that always brings the best out in both of us.
Okay, so we are taping on Friday the 26th. We are going to take a look at the Saturday the 27th card. We'll also be doing a separate video that will cover the Sunday games in the Sweet 16. Chipper, exciting time of year. Before we get to that, tell the folks how they could reach you, where they could find you on the web.
Thank you, Ross. I'm at chipwins.com. And for you old timers, it could be the aplay.com. If you might remember from the olden days, that exists as well. But it's chipwins.com for the most part, Ross. I'll have my games up there. There's a trio of games that probably log on right now and receive them. If you do your duty and follow the buy links, you'll be able to have a great weekend winner with the big games on the line right now. And that's Chip Wins. And you can call me off a number there, Ross, 702-931-2447.
I'm glad you didn't say 702 Chip Wins again, because everybody would have to do a search, a Google search on what letter equates to what number. We remember all that stuff, but, some of the younger generation has never witnessed that. Anyway, we're showing our age. Chip, 7-0 you are, the last 7, basically.
Yeah, last 7 releases with the NIT and the NCAA. My top plays are now 4-1. And, I really feel very comfortable with what's happening this weekend.
Okay. And you could find me at rbwins.com and had a really good second round in the NCAA tournament, going 5-1. I lost in the NBA last night, but you know what? 36-23 with my last 59 in the NBA, which is good for 61%. Chip, I'm also ranked number 8 at sports capping in the NBA. A good winning day, and I could be up as high as number 5 by tomorrow. So I do have a 10-star top play up in the NBA on Friday. And my college basketball 10-star top plays, folks. That's my highest rated selection. I only give out no more than one of those a day. And 75-46 with my last 121, college basketball 10-star top plays. That's good for 62%. That's a huge sample size. A damn good winning percentage. So again, it's rbwins.com is where you could find me. If you want to call me direct and have any questions as far as purchasing a package, uncomfortable with making a purchase online, call me at 781-571-0299, 781-571-0299. Chipper, the Saturday card, let's talk about the 2 games briefly that we're not going to use as a free pick today. Let's start with the Villanova and Baylor game. Villanova's got a nice draw so far in the tournament, and they've looked pretty good. I mean, they shot the ball awfully well, and Baylor's starting to look like the team that prior to the COVID issue they had, where they had a big layoff of 3-4 weeks, they're starting to round into form is what I'm trying to say. Your observations and thoughts on that contest.
Well, Baylor did have 23 days of downtime, Ross, and that really hurt their momentum. And you're right, they're just starting to regain their footing, as are the Wildcats. Villanova lost their best player, Colin Gillespie, and went out and lost the next 2 easily. It just got pounded. They've recovered. They recovered after a loss to Georgetown. They've won 2 in a row in the tournament here. It's a strong number. They both have pedigree. I mean, Villanova's been to the Sweet 16, 6 times in the last 15 years, and Baylor now 5 times in the last 12 years. It's a tough matchup with experience, and it should be a game where fundamentals are going to be a priority, and we're going to see some good basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you look again. I referred to the draw, and I'm not trying to make light of Villanova's accomplishments, but they did finish the regular season and the Big East tournament by losing 3 of their last 4. They were knocked out in their own tournament in the first round by Georgetown. Their 2 wins in the NCAA tournament came over number 12 Winthrop and number 13 North Texas, while Baylor coming off a decisive win against Wisconsin their last time out. So again, I have a small lean here right now at this particular moment in time on the Baylor Bears, but I'm going to see where the money goes and do some further evaluation going forward. Chip, the other game is Oral Roberts in Arkansas. I just read something, Chipper, that Oral Roberts, by making the Sweet 16, has now their university made an additional 120 million somehow. I don't know, but anyway, it's big news for them. They're the number 15 seed in the Sweet 16. It's only happened once. That was Florida Gulf Coast, who was coached then by Andy Enfield, who's now the head basketball coach at USC, who are still alive. Arkansas's looked awfully good, Chip.
Yeah.
Down the final stretch of the season, into the SEC tournament, and now in the NCAA tournament as well. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that Oral Roberts' prayer line must be pretty busy, and they're going to need more than a prayer, I think, this weekend because of the Arkansas defense. They just clamp down on everyone. And Oral Roberts, we know they have 2 prolific scorers, but I think defense is paramount when you come to this situation. What I mean situation is the NCAA Sweet 16, and Arkansas is tenacious on defense. We've seen them turn games around with just 8 or 10 minutes to go when they get aggressive. So I think Earl Roberts is done.
Yeah, it's again, it's one of those situations where Oral Roberts hasn't been there, and the level of competition they faced is nowhere near what Arkansas has faced, obviously, right? But and in addition to Chip, this is a team that really wasn't a good defensive team in their own league all year, and now they're going to be facing an Arkansas team. I don't think Arkansas is going to be caught by surprise here. They know what Oral Roberts brings to the table right now, and I think they're going to expose some weaknesses. They're going to pressure them and really try to wear down Oral Roberts in this contest. By the way, Chip, Arkansas is an 11.5-point favorite in this contest, and the total is 158.5, and that's for good reason. Now, you look at Ken Pom, and it indicates that both of these teams play in the upper echelon in terms of how fast they play, the tempo in which they play. So it should be an entertaining game. I don't know how competitive it will be. Anyway, Chipper, let's get to our free picks. On Saturday, we'll start with you.
Well, unlike Earl Roberts, Loyola, though they are a Jesuit school, they have Sister Jean, and you're not beating this woman. She's 101 years old. Loyola-Chicago's played so well in the tournament. They've gone 6-1 against the number of their last 7 times out, and the loss was 3 years ago, of course. They have a handful of players returning, Ross, from that team that went to the Final Four. Oregon State is a big surprise. They were picked at the bottom of the Pac-12. Pac-12 sending 4 teams to the Sweet 16, and they've gone 19-6 in their last 25. They're averaging 70 points a game on offense, which ranks 213th. Nothing special. But the key factor here, and I didn't know this, Ross, until I looked it up. The Ramblers. That's Loyola-Chicago, by the way. You'll be hearing that name. Number 1 in the NCAA in total defense scoring, only allowing 55.7 points. And I wasn't quite aware of that. But, there is a history. I know you love this, and I know you love the Trends, and there's a history between these two. And Loyola has dominated the series. They've only played once. They played on New Year's Eve on December 27th. And Loyola wins 31-19. I think there's going to be a little bit more scoring in this one.
The over and under was 49.5 in that game. And
we're going to play with the history.
I took the
here,
short end.
I'm going to go with.
I had the under, and I lose by. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, in those days, believe it or not, Ross, there was a jump ball after every basket.
Yeah.
So a team made a basket. They used to bring the ball to center court, and there'd be a jump ball all over again. And I remember I officiated a few of those games. But I think Loyola-Chicago is this side.
It helped to have George Mikan back then, So anyway, boy, we're really showing our age here. I'm going to look at the game between Houston and Syracuse. Houston's the number 2 seed in the region, while Syracuse comes in at number 11. I want to remind everybody, the last time Syracuse was number 11 seed was back in 2016. Everybody hemmed and hawed when they made the tournament. A little bit of that again, too, because on both occasions, some of the observers didn't think Syracuse was worthy of an at-large bid. Well, lo and behold, back in 2016, when they were a number 11 seed, they got to the Final Four, excuse me. So, and again, they're up to their old tricks here. You know, Boeheim has had a tremendous record in the NCAA tournament, Chip. I think we talked about it off air. They're 23 and since the 1996 tournament, 23-9 straight up, and also 20-8 against the number. So really, really good, somewhere in that neighborhood. Let's put it this way: a really good win percentage and a high degree of covering. And since 2016, like I just alluded to, they've been either a number 10 or a number 11 seed on two separate occasions. As a number 10 and 11 seed, they've gone 10-2 straight up and 9-1 against the spread. So they really covet the role of an underdog. As a matter of fact, if they were an underdog of between 3 and 9.5 points in that sequence, they're 6-0 straight up in ATS in those situations. Houston, look, they're a good team. They barely escaped in their last. Matter of fact, they were pretty lucky to get by in their second round game. They win by 3 as a heavy chalk. So I'm looking at this Houston team, and yeah, they're a great team, no doubt about it. But again, the level of competition that Houston's faced all year versus the level of competition that Syracuse has faced all year is night and day. Now, I'm not implying that this is not a straight up bet. Remember that. It wouldn't shock me if Syracuse wins this game outright, but the Orange are getting 7 points in this game. So I'm going to go with the Orange here, Chip. I'm going with Syracuse plus the 7 over Houston. I would even make a small money line bet on Syracuse as well, because look, I mean, I think they have a legitimate chance to win the game outright. We'll see. But that's our picks. Go ahead, Chip. You got something?
If Buddy Boeheim's going to come out and go 9 for 11 in the first half, hitting all 3-pointers, you're in trouble. So he continues the hot shooting. Syracuse very well may be the outright winner.
Yeah, I mean, and they've shot the ball tremendously in their last 5 games. Also, that 2-3 zone, all of a sudden, these kids have found their way. You know, they shot better than 51% in both NCAA tournament games. They held their opponents to 38% or less in both NCAA tournament games. Teams that shoot better than 51% and hold their opponents to 38% or less are 63-0 straight up all time in the NCAA tournament. So if they could somehow turn that trick again, Chip, you just never know, buddy. So
Jim Boeheim's one of the winningest coaches in NCAA history. He's had over 100 wins vacated for some ungodly reason, with all this crazy stuff that goes on there. Jerry Tarkanian was walking around king for years, but he's a great coach. He's probably, in my mind, he was underrated. We used to badmouth him when I was back in New York, but the proof is in the pudding. He's there year in and year out, and I think that his tournament experience really, it comes down year after year with all his clubs.
You know, one of the fond memories I have as a child, my dad started taking me to basketball games quite early. Well, Jimmy Boeheim played for Lions High School, and it's about 45 minutes away from me. But they had a sectional final at the Rochester War Memorial, it was called at the time, and it was 1963. And I was 6 years old, and my dad took me to the game, and they were playing East Rochester. Jimmy Boeheim was the guard for Syracuse. He was a senior. They were undefeated, and he lost the game. But I vividly remember that. We always talk about memories. And then the following year, he goes to Syracuse, and he gets hooked up with a future Hall of Famer, guard Dave Bing, who went on to have a tremendous career in the NBA with the Detroit Pistons. Anyway, repeating again, we're getting off track here a little bit, Chipper, like we normally do. But Chip, you like we're going with, I got
Loyola.
Syracuse -7, and you got Loyola-Chicago -6.5. See, I start talking about history and I lose, my memory goes. Even though I'm recalling a vivid memory from years ago. So anyway, Chip,
Well, you got an A on the history test.
yeah. Anyway, your final thoughts.
I just can't wait for the tip off, and it's a big weekend for us, and Monday and Tuesday are big days as well because now
Yeah.
we're getting down. So
Yeah.
it's a great weekend.
Looking forward to it, Chip. Until the next time, I'm Ross Benjamin, and for Chip Chirimbus, we'll see you with our next video, which will be our Sunday edition of the Sweet 16 tournament. Until then, good luck and God bless.